Guys, what do women do that gives you the ick?
Experience 1. One for when you're in a relationship. When you're with friends and they become distinctly less pleasant to you than when you're alone, like making fun of you and making jokes at your expense which they normally would not make. Have had it in more than one relationship. Like, what is that about? Experience 2. Loudly empathizing with every cause and group on the planet, but treating people in their personal lives like trash. Experience 3. I think not taking accountability is the biggest one. You've messed up / were rude or incorrect or whatever, but just doubling down and never apologizing or admitting fault is so unattractive. Just own it and apologize like a grown-up. I'm sorry, but, etc. Experience 4. Denigrating and emasculating men who show emotions. It's honestly one of the most screwed up things anyone can do to another person. Also, using a man's kids as pawns in disputes, like cutting off visitation because you're mad at him. Don't freaking do that, it's just cruel to the kids. Experience 5. The freaking testing. I appreciate that you have been in previous relationships where someone lied and/or cheated on you, but don't spend your entire single life trying to catch me in some lie so you can have your self-fulfilling prophecy that all men are liars. Experience 6. Silent treatment. I've hated it for the longest time, when you do something wrong, and you try to apologize, and they say nothing is even worse, just hurtful. Experience 7. I told my ex that refusing to talk to me was childish and she was horrified. She texted me later to say I should sleep in the spare room. A few days later she texted me to move out. Still have no idea what I did wrong. But I made my point and the relationship ended. I'm not staying in a relationship with someone who stomps around all day, saying she's fine when I ask what's wrong. It's ridiculous and infuriating. Experience 8. Recently came out of a 9-year relationship where this kind of thing was standard practice. She got so comfortable giving me the silent treatment it slowly became permanent. She had some really serious mental health issues from a very troubled upbringing that she just refused to deal with. I tried to support her, I had all of the empathy for her, and all it did was drag me down to the place she wanted to stay, misery. Toxic negativity, it's all she knew. It wasn't too long before I was completely broken and had no fight left in me. Every now and again I'd crack and either give her the silent treatment back or worse, just verbally attack her and get it all off my chest, which she would then use as ammunition for another month-long bout of silence and disinterest. I'd just learned to accept it and find something to entertain myself by the end. We probably should have broken up a long time before we did, but I was just too weak to pull the trigger. Eventually, we got to a point where we were constantly finding excuses to have a go at each other, and as she experienced a bit of what it's like to feel hated within a relationship, she became really difficult. Staying out super late / not coming home, I think, not sure. She was getting into drugs and partying, heavily flirting with anyone within our friendship group, constantly complaining about me to our friends and family, and doing everything she could to make me out to be a villain. It had become a contest to see who the biggest a-hole could be, but only one of us was trying to win. When we finally broke up, she called my mother and told her she felt she was in danger and that I had gone off the rails on drugs and booze. Never laid a finger on her in 9 years, never threatened any kind of violence, and hadn't taken any drugs for at least a decade. Then as I left, she went on this massive rant about how I've spent years gaslighting her into thinking she was depressed. She was depressed, had been since early childhood, but her crepey parents had never noticed and she just learned to deal with it. It was very clear to me very early in the relationship that she's suffering from depression, and after learning about her past, we had had countless tearful conversations where she would open up properly and see the situation she was in and admit she needs help, but she would never get to the point of being able to actually call someone or speak to a professional. The day we broke up was one of the hardest days of my life, but within a week I felt so much better. The anxiety and pressure of dealing with her mood swings still affect me today, but I'm quite good at recognizing it, and I've learned to use it as a tool. Financially, not spending all my money on stuff for her to try to make her happy was a massive bonus to my mental health too, and for the first time in almost a decade, I bought myself new clothes. It's been almost 2 years since we broke up. I still think about her a lot, and I've not found myself comfortable enough to start looking for a new partner yet, but I will get there one day, I hope. LOL, sorry for the rant, y'all. Edit, I had no idea so many of you were going through this. It feels bittersweet. It's nice that I'm not the only one, but screw me, do I feel bad for everyone in the same boat. Keeps heads held high, gentlemen. Don't be afraid to speak out. It's about time some of this toxic female behavior started getting called out, and we need to break the stigma that men can never be in the right when it comes to their emotions. Thank you to all who commented. I'm not sure why today of all days I decided to open up about this, but I'm glad I did. I feel heard. Experience 9. Cleaning my wife's hair out of the drains grosses me out to the point where I gag. Ick, why? I had no problem with other gross things. I can even clean up my dog's vomit with little to no gagging. Experience 10. Always talk about themselves and never ask you anything at all, so the entire thing just revolves around her, not even like how your day was or are you okay. Just always about them and the attention. Experience 11. Letting their phone be a distraction from being present. I've been in full-blown serious conversations with friends where they completely disappear into their phone mid-convo. My immediate feeling is, oh, this isn't interesting to them right now, so I'll just stop talking. And their reaction is always, I was listening. I usually just say, nah, it's fine. We can talk about it later. I'm over it, too. I know this is probably immature, but I don't want to have a conversation with someone who doesn't want to have a conversation. Just leave it alone. Experience 12. Not extending empathy, projecting the bad behaviors of their exes on their current partners, double standards, not communicating authentically and/or difficulties with communicating expectations. I don't think it's anything gender specific because it's applicable to all types of relationships. Experience 13. I know both genders can be guilty of this, but gaslighting. My God, my ex was so bad for that, and so have other girls I've seen. You try to have a serious conversation about something they are doing that is wrong or disrespectful, and then all of a sudden, you're defending yourself in some way or another. Experience 14. Go psycho over something stupid, then 45 seconds after the argument do a complete 180 and chase you around the house wanting to apologize, then spin back 180 when you say you just need a few minutes to cool off. Experience 15. Women constantly all of the time touch my body without consent. My arms, my pecs, my back, and less so, but still happens, my ass and even my crotch. Especially this all happens when I'm wearing one of my spandex outfits either for acting, I play Spider-Man for official Marvel Live appearance events, or at a convention, edit, whether I'm just being myself in normal clothes or cosplaying in spandex. Experience 16. I worked in a restaurant/bar for a while, and women in their 30s and older were the worst for this. If they're on a girls' night out, it was basically guaranteed that I'd get groped. One time, so 50-year-old woman grabbed my head while my arms were full of glasses and forced me to kiss her, and all they did was giggle about it. It always made me laugh that these would be the same women talking about boundaries and men being physically aggressive, but they do the same thing and somehow think it's different when they do it. It almost seemed like they thought that if they weren't close to my age, it was somehow more okay because their advances were somehow less legitimate. That logic wouldn't fly if the genders were reversed. In fact, it would be considered even more creepy that a significantly older man is groping a young waitress and forcing her to kiss him. It's part of why conversations I've had with some women about consent just irritate me. Because I've literally watched the same women talking about how important consent is and how men don't understand it exhibit that exact same behavior over and over, but somehow it's not the same thing. Sounds like a legitimate excuse to them.
We hope you enjoyed listening to today's stories. If you want to see more stories, check out these videos or check the links in the description for more videos. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And ring that notification bell.